Hey, everybody, it's January 29th. Scott Riley, the Market Update Desk, NMLS number 157524. Well, today's the big Fed decision day. The big part's not that we're guessing on what the Fed is going to say or what they're going to do. They're going to leave the Fed funds rate the same. The big impactful part will be what will come from the Fed's messaging, which comes from Chairman Powell's um, comments at 2:30 today, which is just a little bit from now, and also very importantly in the Q&A session. Not only the verbiage is important, but the tone of Chairman Powell is very important to give us insight into what the entire board of Fed governors is thinking and where they think things are going to go. Now, today is one of the important reports that I'd like to talk about because it explains what we've been saying for a long time regarding the gross overstatement of jobs from the Federal Bureau of Labor of the Bureau of Labor and Statistics jobs report that comes out every month. Now, it's one of the most impactful reports that's out there because it's so important in the market for the bonds, mortgage-backed securities, stock markets to understand the health of the jobs market and the overall economy. Now, the biggest culprit for the BLS's overstatement is what they call their birth death model. This is what gets plugged into the headline jobs figure and tries to estimate how many jobs were created from businesses coming online versus how many job losses there were from businesses closing. Now, the BLS only looks at data from about 670,000 businesses when it uses this imputed data into its modeling and data. Now, that's in comparison to ADP, which uses millions of companies when they come up with their private payroll number. So big difference there. That's why the ADP number for private businesses is usually much closer to reality than this birth and death model. Now, also the problem is they look at data over the last 5 years. Now, keep in mind that includes huge skews from COVID. Now, the PPE loans themselves, and in some cases, shell businesses that were formed from PPE loans, also skew and influence these interpretation and models that they have because they're over a 5-year time frame. Now, this morning, their business employment dynamics report for Q2 of last year, so Q2 of 24, showed that the birth death model did in fact overestimate job growth by a large margin. Let's talk about how much. Now, the BLS reported that in April, May, and June of last year, 24, the birth death model added 653,000 jobs. That sounds great, doesn't it? Today's report shows that the actual number, in other words, a real number, real data, real figures, was minus 163,000. That means they overstated job growth by 816,000 jobs due to the birth death model alone. Think what that would have done to the market. Now, looking at the report for those job figures from Q2 of last year, look at how much different these reports would have been if they had accurate data. So April of last year showed 108,000 jobs created. With the correct data that we now know, that would have been 51,000, less than 50%. May, they reported 216,000. The correct number is 159,000. June was 118,000, which would have been an actual 61,000 jobs. So the bond market would have looked completely different with these correct numbers, with this vast difference in employment data. We would have been at significantly different 10-year bond prices and mortgage-backed securities. So people that bought during this time got charged extra in interest by no fault of their own, no fault of the lender, but solely based on the BLS giving completely fictitious numbers, which influence the market and the traders. So what we've been talking about is these fictitious numbers from the BLS. And this is the actual data that we've been reporting. That we've been waiting on to report to show how drastic this would have been. Now, we're not seeing much movement in the bond market today, and that's because of Chairman Powell's comments that are coming up. What we're looking for tomorrow is the PCE number, the personal consumption expenditure. And I think today's numbers within this employment report will also factor into a little bit of a positive run tomorrow. Also, I think we're going to get next Friday when we get the BLS numbers for January's payroll, we're going to see downward revisions to the January number. I'm sorry, to the December number that we got in January. And I think these will play a part in the market reactions too. So that's the real numbers on jobs. Hope this clarifies some things on what the real market is doing. We'll help you understand this. We take the time to get this information to you. The Market Update Desk, your original singular market news source for West Michigan, 616-293-2189. Have a great afternoon.